because of that God. That will give us strength each night. Let me say, Miss Reyes, you lost several people in the last year. You told me about your father, your husband, and your pastor. Now your son. Sometimes we could wait and say, why me?
Yes.
But when I was growing up, I learned a little song in church that he knows how much we can bear. I know that it's hard for you right now, and I know mine is hard to help you bear your mother's burden. But in all of this, God will make you strong enough that you will stand for other mothers. And you will help change this city. I look and see Ramali Graham's parents here. I see others. That you will become a force in this city. Because you're a soldier's mother. And soldiers never really die. They just change battlefields. And when you walk out this church in the next few minutes with your son's body, you can walk with your head held high. He didn't die in no gang war. He didn't die selling no drugs. He didn't die in a shootout that he caused. He made you proud. And army men and those decorated and community leaders came to say goodbye to your son. So though your eyes will be full of tears, hold your head up high. And be proud and hold your shoulders back. You have nothing to be ashamed of. And know that when you get finished your mourning, you'll have a city to stand with you and demand justice. This should have never happened. And those that are guilty must pay. The time for excuses is over. One time it's time for you to admit what you are. In closing, I want you to remember this, Amanda. There, you will lay your brother to rest. And there will be times that you will go and visit with your mother, his resting place. I told you Saturday, my mother passed in March. And we buried her at the church where we had the funeral. But I remembered and I told my brother and sister, I remember a story that I want you to remember when you think of Noel. There was a city in the South where a lady used to go in the evening around 6 o'clock. And she would stop at a grocery store and buy a little groceries. She would cross the street and go to the cemetery. And every night at 6 o'clock, the kids in the neighborhood noticed she would get a little bottle of milk, little knickknacks, and head in the cemetery. And they'd laugh. They'd say this woman lives in the cemetery and every day just gets some fresh milk and goes and sleeps in the cemetery somewhere. After about a few weeks, they decided they were going to follow her and find out where in the cemetery she slept. They were going to find out if it was up in one of the mausoleums or maybe she had set a tent out. They were curious as to who they were convinced this homeless woman went. So they waited the next day. And the woman showed up on time at 6 o'clock. Went and got a little milk, got a little knickknacks, crossed the big boulevard, went into the entry of the cemetery. They were all following with enough distance where she wouldn't notice them. She went down the main street of the cemetery. They kept hiding behind tombstones. She kept walking, they kept hiding. She kept walking, they kept hiding. Finally, she turned right, going deeper. They turned and kept going deeper. And the deeper she got in the cemetery, the more confused they got. They said, where is she going? Finally, she got to the end and walked out of the cemetery. Crossed the street. There was this big, beautiful mansion. She walked up the steps. And she took out her keys and unlocked the door. And they said, all these months, we thought she was living in the cemetery, and she lived in this big, beautiful house. You see, she had to go through the cemetery just to get home. We will put Noel in a cemetery. But Amanda, that's not where he is. He just has to go through there to get home. He's going home now. He's going home. He's going home where his grandparents is. He's going home where you can rest in peace. Going home, Noel. Get your rest now. The Army made you a sergeant. God's going to give you your wings.
We want to thank you, Reverend Al Sharpton, for such a wonderful word of encouragement